Hello, my name is Johan and I came out later in life.
This is my friend Jovan. He came out in his 40s, and in this video he's going to give us a short overview of his life and then talk a bit about what it's been like for him coming out a little bit later in life.
My name is Johan Sköld and I am currently living in Gothenburg after moving here 1 year ago from the city of Västerås, close to Stockholm. I'm a father of 2 children. 5 years ago I came out to myself and my family, and a couple of years later to all the public, so to speak. Yeah.
So let's travel back to Johan's childhood.
I'm born a long time ago. Yes. During my teenage years, I was living in a very small village. Approximately 500 people were living there, and it was during the 80s when the AIDS pandemic was currently stigmatizing homosexual people. So there were never any time to figure that out, that feeling that I felt inside, whether or not I liked guys or girls. So I suppressed that quite sufficient. And then we moved to Västerås, a bigger city, much bigger city than this little village. I had a marvelous company of friends, but we were not in that department of exploring or making different. We were sitting discussing politics and other important issues over a cup of tea. Yes, we did, but not particularly something else. Then I moved to Uppsala to study for becoming a minister in the Church of Sweden. And there, of course, it could be an opportunity to be more free and experimenting things. But I fell in love with a woman, and we started a life together. We became parents to 2 children, moved back to Västerås, and life continued, so to speak.
But he was always open about his struggles with his then wife.
She has always known, by the way, my dividity among these questions, this sexual question. And after a long partnership, we split up. We are still very good friends, and this was not the reason why we split. It was different things.
But Johan wasn't ready to figure out his sexuality even then.
It took me another 10 years before I finally could start exploring this part of myself. So in 2017, I traveled here to Gothenburg for the first time to visit a restaurant called B Bar, really just to explore this feeling inside of myself. I used to say that night everything happened and nothing happened. I was there, I eat dinner, I danced, I just inhaled the atmosphere, I took it in, I embraced it, and in a way found myself. It was overwhelming. And then I traveled back to Västerås. It was just amazing what I have been experiencing during these 2-3 days in Gothenburg. Just being at this restaurant, walking around, meeting people, talking, especially to the people working at the restaurant, because other contacts I didn't dare to really do. And then that led to that I came out properly to my children, and after a while then to my mother, my siblings, and so forth.
But he saved his open gay life for Gothenburg, and in Västerås things moved on pretty much like before.
In Västerås it was, for me it wasn't the time or the place to try to do something, to talk so loudly and open about it. I came out to my work colleagues. So in that aspect I was quite open, but not in the way to be publicly out. But here in Gothenburg I have this free haven, so to speak. So I went here for a holiday and just be myself. The years that followed, I went here to Gothenburg for approximately 3 or 4 times a year to stay at a hotel, go to B Bar, go to other places, enjoy the city and gather quite a lot of people that I started to get to know.
And then he came out to everybody in his life, although many already knew, in a pretty spectacular way.
When I turned 50, I had invited 140 people or something. 105 or 110 showed up. My address to them, my speech, ended with me coming out in front of them. Some of them, of course, knew already, but for some of them, there was a complete surprise. I really would like everyone in their coming out process to be met with that sound, that cheering and those applause and the greetings. It was overwhelming. It was so good. And I was in comfortable arms, really. I was carried by that love in that room.
In December of 2020, something came up that made him start thinking about starting a new life in a way.
I saw an ad for a work here in Gothenburg, and then this process started to, do I want this job? Can I imagine myself living in Gothenburg? This has been my space, my free space. Shall this really be my hometown and leave all that is safe and sound in Västerås? But I decided to do that. I have not regretted it. It has been a most evolving journey to be part of for myself. I miss all the friends and people, and I miss my work in Västerås because I enjoyed it enormously to live there. And you don't know what you are coming to when you are moving to a new town and you have passed 50 and you don't know if you ever is going to meet new friends again. But I've been very persistent, so I'm a part of a choir today, so I can sing and dance and be on the stage, and I have hilariously funny together with them. And I still go to B-bar. And I eat dinner and I dance in the night. And I have a really good time and am enjoying in my new job as well.
Like he mentioned, he has 2 grown children and they've reacted really well to Johan's coming out.
It is very, very good. It has been more troubling moving here to Gothenburg rather than my coming out process. For them, they have more been like, Father, we are in a different generation. For us, this is not strange. This is not complicated at all. We are happy for your sake. Today, we are fine with me living here and they living in Västerås. I mean, they are over 20, both of them, so they can manage, really. The times has changed. My experience of being a teenager and a bit above and theirs is completely different. The society at that time more or less scared me back into the closet, which I never really left at that time either, and they are fine with it. And I think that is also a really good atmosphere with their friends, that they have this openness which I couldn't have at my time.
I wondered what it's like for Johan to look back on his life and think about what might have been if he would have come out earlier.
I have tried to not be bitter because I have lived a very good life. I have loved a woman and I have been loved back. I have 2 children whom I love and they love me back. And I have a lovely setting of siblings. I have a lot of siblings. I have really been living a good life. And when I talk about this, what would it have been like to come out in my 20s and to be young and exploring and experimenting and all that. And when I talk to people particularly then in Gothenburg, then they often replied, yes, but you have children. Because that's a fact which a lot of gay men not will experience. Today it's simpler than it was in the 80s at least. But I have that kind of richness which I would never want to leave behind as something I regret or something, because that has been so priceless, really. It's so valuable to me to be a father and be part of raising two lovely children. Now I'm just trying to be here, enjoy my life to the full as I am.
Coming out a bit later in life and finding your way into this community comes with a few difficulties.
Of course, there are obstacles. Am I ready to make a commitment to someone? Or am I still too young being out? It's not really easy to maneuver because I'm still very new in this community. I have been living on the outside and been very straight in that sense.
And he's also been struggling with finding words for his true identity.
I had loved a woman. So was I then, what was I? And is it important to label a person and so on? Since the years have passed, I mean, I'm more attracted to guys, so that's, well, fluid or not, bisexual or not. If I'm going to commit to someone sometime, it will be to a man.
And finally, if you're thinking about coming out or living your true self, Johan has some words for you.
I would tell them that it isn't that dangerous. You build the biggest fortress yourself. Of course, there could be obstacles. Yes, I shall not deny that. I have been fortunate to not have met anything. Not at all. It has all been friendly, accepting, understanding. And I can understand that everyone doesn't meet that it isn't easy in a school environment or something like that, or in a particular work environment. But in the end, it is worth it because you can be yourself. And that is my experience, that everything that I built up, my fortress of fear of everyone turning their head against me because of me coming out, was all just my own fears. So the biggest coming out is really to yourself.
If you enjoyed watching that video, please like, comment, subscribe and share the video. I really appreciate you showing your love in that way. If you also want to support the channel financially, that's possible via Patreon, but really no pressure. See you next time!